Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ginteresting Conversations episode. It's probably 4 now. Yeah, I mean, who's keeping count on amounts of anything anymore? So, hi. This is a wonderful episode with a very good friend of mine who I've known for years, and he's managed to become massively popular via being dead clever, which is the way you should get popular, by being really good at something rather than who you know. Not even better. Don't even want to be on telly. Now, this person is someone I undoubtedly know that you know. But before we do that, there is a function on this where you can donate, because as I'm sure a lot of people on here, you've had a lot of your work taken away from you, which would mean a lot of income taken away with you. With me, it has been all of it. So that's good. So if you want to donate, it all goes to the comics involved. So that's me. And here we go. It's the you can get a double for 5, quantity 10 for a single 5. This is London prices. Triple 15, or you can order to my table, which is any amount of money that you claim. £1,000, just for example. There's any eccentric millionaires out there? Not in the northeast. No. I mean, Mike Ashley, but he's not more eccentric. He's more of a prick. Right, now, anyway, I am going to introduce my guest now, and he's about to come on and be absolutely wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, please. I mean, I'd say give him a round of applause. We can't hear you, but do it anyway. I want to know you do it, and welcome the wonderful Mr. Paul Sinha. There he is.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
Have I got some bad news for you?
What?
Mike Ashley was just about to donate when you called him a prick. Unlucky.
Oh, well, that's typical him, isn't it? Typical him. Like, oh yeah, I'll promise you something. Yeah. I mean, I'm from Sunderland anyway, so I mean, are you drinking with us today, Paul?
I don't drink gin. I've got no spirits in the house, so I've got a can of beer from the fridge.
That'll do.
Quite classy. It was free.
You bloody bloke. Jenny Adams, Matt's my favourite Northeast comedian. Yeah, say that, Paul? Fact.
Yep. N.E. for nearly entertaining.
Oh, go pretend that didn't hurt and crack on. So how have you been finding lockdown, Paul?
Well, it's been fun, hasn't it? I mean, a few days before lockdown, I lost every single gig that I had booked in for the rest of the calendar year, like every comedian. And then I decided that because my mum and dad live less than a mile away from me, and I didn't want the responsibility of accidentally infecting them, me and Ollie moved out to the outskirts of London, borderline Surrey, to a house where we were going to isolate for however long it took. And then 2 days later, I'm lying in bed and I realised that I've got the dreaded COVID-19.
Oh, no.
Can't smell anything, absolutely exhausted, drained, feverish, coughing. And I thought to myself, is there any way that I could get Twitter likes for this? Turns out there was.
Hey, there it is.
There then followed one of the worst 2 weeks of my life. One of my good friends from Quiz passed away. And at that point, when he passed away, the tabloids were pestering my agent to say, what has Paul got to say? And at the time, I was lying in bed, sweating and coughing and this, that, and the other. And it was a pretty horrible 2 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds delightful.
After that, you slowly piece your life together. And Quiz has been the sort of saviour for me, because the Quiz community, I don't know if you're aware of the stereotype, but they weren't really socially engaging with the rest of
But, I mean, I'm pretty sure I could take the dinner money of most of your friends.
About at least 76% of them.
And quite a lot of money, judging by the looks of some of them.
And we've been waiting for this. And there's sprung. It was a bit like Fight Club, an underground network of secret associations. I've been in so many Zoom rooms. I'm going to change my name by default to Fat Larry's band. It's just been quiz, and it's kind of kept me sane, because it's not easy to stay sane.
No, it's not. And I mean, I reckon after this, you are going to have more competition in the quiz world, because everyone's doing a quiz every 5 seconds.
Well, this is very true. Yes.
What have you been doing the quizzes yourself? I imagine yours are higher standards than most, right?
Yeah, there's a thing called Wiki Quiz, which is a big new website where there's all sorts of quizzes of all sorts of different standards. Then there's I do a sort of Zoom room quiz on a Wednesday and a Thursday. I've appeared in strangers' living rooms asking them quiz questions on a Sunday night. I've been yeah. I've been putting them out.
When was the first?
Oh, there's a question.
No. What? I mean, that is a wide open question, isn't it? What is your favourite quiz question?
I don't really have a favourite quiz question, apart from possibly because it's so left field. Which famous pop song, the name consists of a state abbreviation followed by the capital of that state? And the answer is Ms. Jackson by Outkast, which is followed by Jackson, Mississippi.
That's a clever bloody question, isn't it?
Yeah, something unusual, really.
Yeah, my level of quizzing is Trivial Pursuit, usually from the 90s. And because we used to play Trivial Pursuit in my house all the time, and my mum and dad were proper deadly at quizzes. They were brilliant. My mum was a librarian.
All right. There's no need to get competitive, Matt.
Yeah, mum was a brilliant librarian, probably the best. And she used to devour books, and she was brilliant at pub quizzes. And she always used to win. I think that's possibly how we kept half the household going.
Well, it's funny what you say about pub quizzes, because I'm not actually any good at pub quizzes. Can't do pictures, can't do music. I'm better than most people in a pub quiz at art and literature and history and that sort of thing. You don't get a lot of that in pub quizzes.
Yeah, I imagine. What's in that? What's your Achilles heel?
Pictures, absolute pictures. In the right mood, they could show me a picture of you, Matt, and even though we've known each other for nearly 20 years, I would go, that is Hetty Wainthropp from Hetty Wainthropp Investigates. I just I can't recognise anything.
I share a lot of our traits. I'm often going around sleepy villages sorting crimes, committing crime. But
solving them.
Yeah. Apart from quizzes, what have you? So have you just kind of got over COVID? The cold?
No, I don't. Well, my lungs don't feel quite where they should be. But other than that, I've been steadily getting over it for the last 8 weeks or so. Tears of laughter emoji for Hetty Wainthropp. Thank you very much for your support.
That's almost that's like a lull, so that counts. So you're getting the laughs, mate.
I've moved back home 2 days ago, and hopefully life will start to get a little bit more normal.
Yeah. Oh, so are you recording during the lockdown or not?
I'm not allowed to say, but no. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before we're back in the studio, but we do have a lot of episodes that haven't been shown yet.
All right, that's brilliant. Good, because do you know what? There's a lot of quizzes that I love it first and then I go off, but I think you might be one of, like, it's always that exciting when you're on, but if I say, like, the Chasers on, I'll sit and watch it, because there's quiz shows that, like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, when it first came out, there was that excitement, but I can't watch reruns of them because the questions, like, there's basically 5 questions in an hour. And
I think a lot of people in TV production haven't realised the degree to which our attention span has shortened.
Yeah.
People get quicker fixes on TV. I love a quiz, and I can't watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because it's so slow.
Yeah.
The pace is just speedy, question. And that's why we're doing so well, more apart from having the best host in the business.
I met him in London not long back, actually. He was in a coffee shop, and I saw him, and I was like, and I was on my own, and I went over and
Definitely him, not Shane Ritchie.
Hello, Bradley. I think you're great, and I know Paul. And he was like, oh, that's great. That's great. And I was like, bye then. Like a dick. I look like an absolute dick, so that's good.
I now remember he rang me up and asked me if I knew a vagabond in the Regent Street area.
Yeah, that'll be me. Huh? Oh God, he knows who I am. So it's because, like I say, I like a lot of questions, and the chase is, like, sometimes it's really difficult, but sometimes I can get quite a lot of questions and I feel better about myself. But then the ones normally it's a nice balance of easy and difficult questions, whereas at a 15-1 is question, but some of those questions I'm like, how is anyone supposed to know that? And people do, obviously, but I'm just saying.
I mean, it's a different perspective. It's been 3.5 years since I heard a question on 15-1 that I didn't know the answer to. But I know what you mean.
Also, I know. God. What What was your favorite? Like, were you always in the quizzes when you were going through your difficult teen years?
My difficult teen years. No. It was when I was a kid. I was a proper lad, into girls and drinking and going on motorbike rides into the country. No, always into quizzes.
Who's pretend to steal that?
Yours?
Motorbike rides into the country. So much.
Yeah, that's me.
That is you.
No one picked a fight with Mathematics Sinha.
Look, I can give you 10 mathematical equations of why you shouldn't hit us. So, like, while you were going through, because you were a doctor, of course, first.
I know, I was definitely a school kid first. Then the doctor when I left school. Even as a doctor, I was quiz machine-tastic. I mean, I spent lots of time that I was meant to be in the wards, wandering around pubs in Streatham in South London, taking 10 quid out of quiz machines and buying a Diet Coke. And then real life takes over and you become a professional doctor, then a professional comedian, and you don't have time to take quizzing seriously. But when I gave up the medicine, I suddenly had more time, and that's when I started taking quizzing seriously.
So, I mean, when you obviously got into comedy from being a doctor, but what was it like? That must have been was it a difficult decision to make to leave? Like, what was? I mean, what everyone was basically every parent's dream, like that the kid becomes a doctor. Like, it's just one of those things that's very important to people.
Well, I was stuck. Really, I needed to get out. I was quite lucky, really, because the 2006 Edinburgh Festival was the one that I put all my effort into to try. There's a mechanism to try and get out of medicine, and it worked. I got an Edinburgh nomination, and if I didn't get an Edinburgh nomination that year, I don't really know exactly what would have happened to my career. I needed that sort of jump lead thing into my career, and suddenly all these media organisations were going, "Oh, there's a gay Asian doctor on the horizon. He'll be interesting to talk to." And suddenly, I'm just one of these people that appears on something.
Yeah, I mean, someone just gave us a little winky face. That's nice. Steve Keys, that's a great profile picture, mate. Which TV quiz shows, if any, do you find the most difficult? If you're watching a quiz, which one?
Not Millionaire. I see it says Millionaire ? No. University Challenge, definitely. Me and Ollie watched the final during lockdown and were staring at each other for quite a lot of the final, going, "What on earth is going on?" Because of course, University Challenge is aimed at the strengths of university undergraduates.
Yeah.
And therefore it is the most difficult quiz on telly. The other one that is getting quoted is Only Connect, which is a more puzzle-solving sort of general knowledge quiz game. And yeah, I certainly find that difficult as well. I'd say University Challenge and Only Connect. Master even in the final, I'd say I'm getting 90% of the questions right.
Yeah. Well, I was watching. Oh, what was it? Only Connect. I was watching it. I've never seen it, and that's what I'm the exact opposite of what I said. But before we do a quiz on a Sunday night with a lot of the Northeast comics, and he had an Only Connect round, and he assumed that we all knew what we were doing. So if you don't know what Only Connect is, that is the most confusing thing to come up on the screen. I was like,
I mean, it's funny you say that. That's just normal human beings. I did a quiz for experienced quizzes at the Quiz League of London that had an Only Connect round, and it was the most chaotic pandemonium thing I've ever hosted. I'll host an Only Connect round again. There were loads of people looking genuinely angry, going, "What the fuck is Only Connect?" And I thought, I made a bad decision here.
Well, yeah, like, who's the best quizzer in the country?
Controversial question, because Kevin Ashman from Eggheads is the GOAT. He's the Roger Federer. He's the governor. He's done it all. But I think Pat Gibson from Eggheads as well has got a little bit more versatility. Kevin is amazing, but Pat's more likely to know what the name of the shaken vat woman than Kevin.
That's mad.
You know, if the questions are getting down and dirty into the depths of lowbrow, I think Pat is more likely to know than Kevin.
The depths of lowbrow. How much are chips?
That sort of thing.
So, How do you like? I've always wondered this because I've got a friend called Sammy Dobson, and she's very bright, and she went on what's it called, the Pointless. She went on Pointless with her boyfriend, and she won. And but she was like, just reading like Wikipedia. Like, that's just reading it and just like
quite a long read. I've got halfway through at the moment.
dips off in the middle.
I'm on Lepidoptera. Butterflies and moths. So we'll finish the letter L by the end of the year.
But she was like, obviously, she was like doing things that could be like learning things about people in certain films and stuff like that. And I can't comprehend how you start to begin to learn to know things that might possibly be questions.
It's really hard to say, but
what's your technique?
What's my
technique?
I don't have a technique. I just try and listen to as many questions as possible. If anything piques my interest, I look at the Wikipedia page for that. I try and know. I'm not the sort of person that gets the same thing wrong 4 times in a row. By the 5th time, I will have learned the answer. But sometimes you just got to do it yourself. Say films. I don't really watch films. But every week or so, I will look at the box office charts and see what's interesting about the films that are out. I mean, I don't have an intuitive feel for X-Men and Marvel and DC and Harry Potter and all of that business, but I can still answer questions on them.
Yeah.
I still have an idea of who is who.
The box office, like things that might possibly come up as questions, like the box office takings and who stars in them and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you've got like Marvel, like Endgame was the biggest of all time, like box office takings of all time. So you'd know that, and you'd know like who Iron Man was, for example.
Yeah. What's your favourite quiz category? Stacey asks. To which the answer, bizarrely, is art and literature. And the reason being that compared to normal people, I know a shitload about art and literature, whereas they could probably beat me on pop music, TV, film, and sport, other things that I genuinely love, but don't have a big advantage over normal people. So when I'm on the chase, I'm hoping for which painter, which author, which scientist, the sort of stuff that normal people don't really bother to learn. And so I would say art, literature, and science, rather than the things that I really love, which is entertainment and sport.
So, well, have I got one as well? Mine is 80s cartoon theme tunes. There you go. Very good at that.
That's one of those. Danger Mouse, Powerhouse. One of those, yeah.
Oh, that one be. Such a mystery, that one. Gummy Bears, that's a good one. Ulysses. Oh, yeah. Ulysses. That was a good one.
I take it that was Greek myth rather than James Joyce.
It was Ulysses. It was Greek myth, but it was all done in space. So basically, I learned a lot about Greek mythology via a handsome, bearded space warrior with a blue child.
Oh, sorry, I'm laughing at prenatal death.
Oh, that's that wasn't why he was blue. He was an alien. Well, that's.
I think that's a bit bleak for a one-off episode of Ulysses.
Rhubarb and custard. I never trusted those. Those are the kind of drawings. Some of the cartoons used to scare us a little bit, mind, when I was a Ben. Oh, hello.
Hi, Michaela. You do rhubarb and custard.
Your boyfriend's got excellent eyebrows, Michaela.
The guy who created rhubarb and custard won an Oscar. There you go. His name's Bob. Won an Oscar the same year that Milos Forman won an Oscar for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Cat, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Cat, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Bob Godfrey turned up and picked one. The Rhubarb and Custard Man was at the same Oscars. The Jack Nicholson one.
Such a good film.
Fact for everything.
You have got a fact for everything. Okay. Gravy.
Sorry?
Gravy.
Gravy. Jules Gravy was a former Prime Minister of France after whom a species of zebra is named.
I mean, you're a mutant. What's going on? How do you even masturbate?
There is a reason you can't see the whole of this picture at the moment.
It's me, isn't it? I knew it.
Always been you.
So we've got viewers all around the entire world. There's a Canada. If anyone else is from anywhere else, and feel free to chip in with your questions. Paul can literally answer everything. And if you can't answer it, you'll have a bloody fact about it. I'll tell you that. So you went to medical school. Like 2006 was that year you went up with? Was it Love Actually?
No, that was 2004. That didn't win anything other than least watched show at the Edinburgh Festival.
Nice.
Went up 2 years later with the big "Ooh, look at me, I'm a big gay Bengali" show, and that did well.
Yeah, I went with a similar show. Well,
coincidentally, it did well the year that I paid good money for a PR person. It must have been a coincidence.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine there's any other reason why the Daily Telegraph described my show as one of the most talked about shows of the Edinburgh Fringe. On the day we came, there were 13 people in the room. It's almost as though PR people and journalists are in cahoots.
Absolutely not. It's almost as if Joke of the Fringe is up to buy, isn't it? Or anything like that. Nah, I truly believe in the comedy system being fair and just. Anyway. The comedy system, like it's a major. Anyway, yeah, but that Love Actually one, I remember that one because I remember being up there at that point. And then the 2006 was the year I went up first for the whole run, doing what was it, Big Value with Sarah Milligan. Actually, funny enough,
whatever happened to her?
Yeah. So that was 2006. A Big Value with it was Tom Ringlesworth. Sarah Milligan, Andrew Bird, Benny Boot.
Oh, the lovely Benny Boot.
Do you know where he is now?
No.
He lives in a Zen monastery in Japan.
Nice.
Yeah, that is. I mean, we know some odd people, but he's over there, and it was a great year, 2006. So you went up, and that was the year you got nominated.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people know this unless they have a drink with me late at night and I start pontificating about my glorious...
I know this.
I put a lot of effort into it. A lot of effort. I planned everything. I paid my sister to go and watch Enda Minoche's Edinburgh preview and come back and report. So that I knew that I wasn't doing anything that he was doing. I came in with a plan, and that plan was to be the first Asian comic to not talk about Asian stereotypes and the first gay comic to be non-camp. And I wanted to make sure that people knew about that. And that's why the PR person was very important.
That's
Walker.
Oh, well, Janice got it. She's saying it at the Fringe 3 times, thought you were great. Who was your favourite comedian?
Well, obviously, Matt Reid. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The great thing about Matt Reid was there during one of my worst deaths. It was a late show at the Leeds Jongleurs in 2009. And he was hosting. And I was on for about 20 minutes, and from about 15 minutes, it just gone wrong. And as Matt will confirm, somebody heckled with, "These aren't jokes; these are just stories about your life."
Definitely one of my. I mean, it's just an absolutely bulletproof heckle. Heerman, what you're doing? And you went, "What do you mean?" He went, "You're just telling us stories about your life."
And no one quite knows what to do when a fellow comedian's died. And as the host, you got a certain degree of responsibility to do and say the right thing. And you walked out to me in the dressing room, you put your hand on my shoulder, and you just went, "Ha ha 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 ha." That was amazing to watch. And that is my hero.
Well, it was. It was genuinely one of my favourite heckles of all time.
My favourite non-Matt Reid comedian is probably Daniel Kitson. I know it's a stereotypical answer, but he's the absolute governor.
You see, this
Tom Stade as well. Tom Stade, amazing.
Tom Stade was on that night as well.
He was, yeah. Oddly enough, he didn't die.
No, he didn't. In fact,
the audience who seemed to be the problem.
You opened up with "Don't worry, people, I'm not a doctor."
That's right. What a great line that was. He started with, "Don't worry, people, I'm not that guy." Brilliant.
Tom Stade, you know, he doesn't look a lot like Paul.
No.
That's some great gigs, though. That's some great gigs over the years. What's your favourite place to gig?
The Stand Newcastle, the Stand Glasgow, the Stand Edinburgh, The one in come on, it's going to come to me, Bracknell, and the comedian.
Beautiful.
Bracknell and the comedian. Anywhere with low ceilings, packed in. Well, if I had to pick one over all the others, there is something about the Stand Glasgow that thrills me more than any other comedy club in the country. And I know it is. I'm a middle class Southern London public school educated doctor turned comedian turned quiz person. You walk into the Stand Glasgow and there's just a connection straight away.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what it is.
I love the Stands. I'm doing the Stand on Saturday. I'm very excited because it's the first time I've been to a venue to do a gig for so long. How have you been? Have you been to all gigs? Because it is driving me absolutely insane.
I think what's killing me more than anything else is I was on tour. You see, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease last year, and I had months out, and I regrouped, and I said, well, I've got to write a show about this. Not least because it was part of the weirdest year of my life. Because I proposed to Oliver in January, and I married Oliver in December.
Hey, congratulations!
And in the middle of all that, I had the most successful comedy festival of my life in New Zealand. And the 2 days after I came back from New Zealand, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And as I said in my gig, as I said in my virtual gig that I did at the Stand, when the doctor said, you've got Parkinson's disease, I went, get in, fine, I've got something over Ramesh Ranganathan and Nish Kumar.
I expect the guy in it.
So, you know, and I regrouped. I took a couple of months out, obviously, as you have to regroup, and I worked on this new show. And the show was full of jokes and stories and pathos and this and that. It had a song at the beginning. It had a song at the end. It was the big show that was taken to the Edinburgh Festival this year. And I was about 8 gigs down touring it when it's all just been taken away from me.
That's annoying.
I just feel that I feel that in many ways this was meant to be my comeback year. This was meant to be a year where I basically said Parkinson's doesn't have to stop you from being a stand-up comedian. Quite a lot of weird things happened to me, including doing celebrity catchphrase with Gemma Collins 5 days after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
So you couldn't really take a proper swing at it, yeah?
Which I turned into a routine that I'm really proud of, and also being one of the worst contestants on Taskmaster in the history of the show. All of this was happening in the same 12-month period. And I've turned it into a really, really bang, 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 joke. Oh, here's a bit of crying show. And then sorry, I forgot the other big one. 3 months after being diagnosed with Parkinson's, I won the British Quiz Championship. Hopefully this lockdown will last long enough for there to be no British Quiz Championships this year, and I can be the reigning champion for 2 years. Keeping my fingers crossed for.
That counts, definitely. Absolutely.
So there's all sorts of things I talk about in the show, and that's what I miss.
Yeah.
I miss standing on stage and basically talking about my life in my voice. That's what I miss.
It's the most, like, I don't think a lot of people understand, like, when, like, there's comics. It was I tell you, I said it was like a clang dropping near me. But Jim Jeffries, that was years ago. I did tour support for him on one of his tours, and he said you know, we used to do musical theatre. And he was saying, he says, I got musical theatre because I could dance and because I could sing. He says, but there were a lot of people in musical theatre that were there because they fucking love musical theatre and wanted to be involved. And I think that's a lot like comedy now. And he says, he was like comparing it to comedy. There's a lot of people in comedy now that just like stand-up comedy and want to be involved in it.
Well, I think that's what's changed from when I started. I started in 1995, and I think everybody is a weird middle-aged person with a midlife crisis.
Yeah, well, I started in 1989.
What changed was that comedians suddenly started getting famous and rich quick.
Yeah.
It meant that more people came into the job with ambition.
Yeah.
That thing, ambition, is what I didn't see in the first 2 or 3. You'd occasionally see it, but I never really saw much of it amongst the open spots that I worked with in the first 3 years of my career. Now, I mean, I did a gig. I won't mention names. I won't mention places, but I was the headline act. And the two...
Oh, yeah.
the two acts that were on in the middle stayed in the dressing room to chat to each other through the entirety of my set at the end. And I thought, that's really weird. If you're at the venue, you don't really know how you've done in the middle until you've seen the headline act. If you've got to go home, you've got to go home. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're there at the venue,
you what?
And I just thought, things have changed since my day.
Specifically now, it's. I think it's about 70% snake oil salesmen on the circuit. Like, absolutely, I'm very, very rarely impressed now by anyone that's new.
Marion Cairns says, if you were part of a double act, who would your comedy partner be? And you'd have to be somebody who's the opposite of you in every way, because that's how double acts work. I am a relatively uncharismatic, unphysical writer rather than performer who does his whereas so it might be somebody like Harry Hill or Lee Evans or somebody like that who's got a very, very different skill set.
And they've already got loads of fans, so that's handy.
That is very, very handy indeed. So somebody who's the opposite, kind of the opposite of me. Brown. There you go.
That's a good answer. Mine would be my mate who I had to sadly fire. You saw us. I used to do the double act. That was good fun.
Yeah, that's my first bit.
Yeah, and also you did mention your Parkinson's, and it was a horrible thing for you to find out. So, and it seems to obviously it's going to have plenty of negative aspects, but you seem to have used it for the positive, and you've come out with your new show, and that's.
I don't have any choice. I'm not going to spend my life miserable. I want to spend the rest of my life as a travelling comedian and a professional quizzer.
Yeah. So
I've got to be funny. I can't just sit there going, boo, I've got Parkinson's.
You should definitely do it in that sing-song voice.
Yeah. I've just got to try and be funny.
Yeah.
And say about it.
Tragedy in comedy. Oh, there we go. Paul came and said hello to my mum, who's in her 80s, when he did Punch Drunk in Cramlington. Thinks he's a lovely lad. She's a quiz show super fan who loves comedy too, including Taskmaster, despite your dreadful performance, apparently. I've sent this to her, but she's watching the telly. She's going to watch this later. I'll be making a contribution. She's probably watching you on the telly as well.
No, I was on Monday. I don't know how I did, but I missed it.
I remember one of you when we were around Peter's, watching yourself watching the chair, and I put Inception.
That, in my defence, was a new episode. I don't really watch the repeats.
But I put you on Sinception. That's what I put, because it was you watching you. And I put it up, and you absolutely bollocked us the next day because I tagged you in it. And loads of people who you'd hidden your name from started having you. I was like,
oh yeah. Well, I think the one thing that comedians and quizzers have in common is an immense narcissism. Most of them are in it for the same reason, to make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
The times I've been at quizzes where a lot of people have been spectating, and when questions have been asked, they make a point in the audience of making sure that as many people around them as possible can see that they know the answer to the question. In that sense, I think there's a narcissism to both quizzing and stand-up comedy that's quite notable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be a stand-up comedian and not be narcissistic. It's just utterly ludicrous.
I mean, you can have a lack of care about your appearance, but you don't have to. You've got to consider yourself. I had an argument with me and Kai. He's a Northeast comedian. Had an argument with a couple of lads from London who were going, well, you can be shy. You can be chronically shy and be a comedian. Not really.
Well, I think you can, but you're still narcissistic.
Yeah, but you can't be
still craving the sound of complete strangers cheering your name.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't be medically impossible to be shy. I know people who can't leave the house some days. You know what I mean? But this is this whole thing where you get up in front of 300 people. Well, some days, and you should have been here last week. 300 people, and if you're medically shy, you're not doing that. It's such a thing, and that's what I miss, and and you see you miss it as well. Do you think it's going to get back to normal?
I've literally no idea. It's pretty scary, isn't it? I've no idea. I'm not an expert on macroeconomics. I don't know how clubs are getting on. I just really, really hope so, because it's none of us are really prepared for this situation.
No.
Whether it's financially or psychologically or physically, none of us are prepared for it. You don't expect the global pandemic to be the defining event of your life, and I don't want to see our industry implode.
No. Well, I was like, I know a lot more people who've got plans for a zombie holocaust than had a plan for this.
That is very much a telling statement about your neighbourhood.
Where I live, I don't do nothing at all. It's very posh around my house.
I think, as everyone has seen in the last 3.5 months, there's no better version of what we do than live. For all that we can try doing things online and this, that, and the other, there's no replacement for live stand-up comedy in terms of what we do.
Yeah.
I did that virtual gig for The Stand the other day, and somebody wrote on Twitter, the Cineman should stick to his day job. Number one, I wanted to go, this is my day job, you dick. I've been doing it for 20 years, 25 years. And number two, I thought, you might cut someone some slack for 3 weeks after recovering from COVID-19, having someone create a makeshift comedy club in the house that they've been isolating in for the last 5 weeks, to do his first stand-up gig for 5 weeks and talk about COVID-19 and an entirely new material set. That might be the time you might cut someone some slack and not assume this is the best you're ever going to see this particular comedian.
And just before we crack on with anything else, there's the donation page which will fly across the bottom every now and again if you want to pop a donation in. Don't have to. I hate asking for money because I'm northern as fuck. But if you want to do that, feel free.
It was the greatest achievement of my lifetime if my appearance on this show could somehow get Matt Reed out of the penury that he's been suffering from for the last 15 years.
Oh, that's lovely to see you, Paul. So, as you were saying with the comments, because I know you do a bit of material about the Twitter trolls. Do you still get them, like Twitter?
Not to a huge degree, but I've got a nice routine at the moment about things said on Lad Bible's Facebook page when me and Ollie got engaged.
Oh.
Starting with, for him, the chase is over, and then descending to things like, I bet it's his arse he'll be chasing, and this then.
What?
and at least 20,000 people who all said, I didn't even know he was gay. Just one. as though I've been quiet on the subject.
What? You gay?
Yeah.
Shit.
I've been quiet on the subject, and it's like, what do they want me to do? Turn up at their house with an individual card, explain my marital situation? But I don't really know what more I need to do, given that for the last 25 years I've been standing on stage talking to the public about bumming men. You can't really do any more than that. I married a man.
That gave it away for me, mate.
Yeah.
He said it all. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. He's married a man, gay. That is very gay. I just watched an excellent film about coming out and stuff like that called Dating Amber. It's on Prime. If you watch, it's one of the best films I've seen for ages. And it was the Dating Amber.
Okay.
And it's such a good film, and it was all about it was just the self-loathing that they had in it. It tortured me, and but I've been so emotional anyway over this over the whole time because I've been on the edge about 900 times, and it's affected us badly, but it's also brought a lot out of us. Like you say, you've done how many quizzes you've done. have you had any other, like, have you done like the lockdown bingo more or less, where like you've baked banana bread, made your own bread, and learned a new skill, anything like that?
I could hula hoop.
Can you?
Yeah.
I saw a video.
Sorry?
I saw a video of you doing it. Going,
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. I learned a lot more about recycling. Apparently, recycle. So I learned quite a lot about recycling in the 10.5 weeks. I learned a lot of facts. I've written 5 chapters of a book that no publisher wants. I've written a poem about my year with Parkinson's. I recorded a song yesterday about that lists all the chemical elements of the periodic table to music. I'm just throwing as much shit at the wall as humanly possible, saying, somebody please notice me. It's down and I'm disappearing out of view, like we're all doing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm doing as much as I can. I'm drawing a lot. I'm
Great drawing, actually.
Thank you. I'm doing a comedian's colouring book. I've started writing sketches and sitcoms and all that, and did keep fit for a good week and a half. I'm enjoying my walks, mind.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of walking, and then in the last couple of weeks, my lungs have started to react to it. I don't think I'm completely over what happened.
Yeah,
my lungs are about 80% of what they're meant to be, and every so often you just feel it. But the process is getting better. There has been, good bits to lockdown. Good bits.
Yeah.
The 50th birthday party in the end of May. You were invited, by the way. But
I got the notification, and I was where was I? In the house, and I forgot. Yeah,
but it was actually really good fun.
Yeah,
it was weird. There's like 50 to 60 people who didn't necessarily know each other.
That's
in randomized Zoom rooms again and again and again, so they got to chat to each other. It was a very weird sort of party. But the one thing I have to say that it's obviously weird not living a real life and living a virtual life, but there are opportunities to get to know other people as a result.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things in lockdown is the Wednesday night and Tuesday night quizzing I've been doing with quizzes from the north of England, many of whom I've not met at events. And it's just really nice to quiz to people that are with people that I otherwise wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to expand the circle of your friends, should you so choose. And we've got to try and make what we can out of this bad situation.
Was that expand the circle of your friends? Another comment that you got after your wedding on Twitter, etc.
Bit of blue.
Yeah, bit of blue for the dads there. Eh? Yeah, you will. I mean, I've seen a lot of comics working with comics that never worked with on the circuit as well, because the virtual thing, all the bigger comics that are hard to get hold of and stuff like that, like not yourself, piece of piss, you know what I mean? Just give you a ring. But but like I've seen like Jason Manford on with like 3 open spots that can't get a 20 at the stand and stuff like that, and they're managing to be on these massive gigs where people are, and that's going to be on a lot of CVs, and people are going to go, "Oh, he's gigged with that." And I'll go, "It's 2020." I'll go, "All right, okay, I understand." But it's like there is obviously there's nice things about. I've got a lot of spare time, like me drawing. Like I haven't drawn for years, and I started again. And that's a nice thing. The walking, there's a lot more walks around where I live. I'm lucky enough because I just moved in, so I'm lucky enough to have been. Where were you outside London? Was there anywhere? It
was an area called Byfleet, which is a kind of suburban nowhere. It was a rushed decision. I mean, I don't know quite what I said at the beginning, but my mum and dad live less than a mile from my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to, because my flat's quite small, I wanted to go somewhere a little bit bigger for me and Ollie to just isolate properly and not be any danger to anybody. And so it was kind of just it was a random pick. And it turned out to be a really, really good idea, because I didn't realise at the time that I was already had COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so it's just as well that I got out of there and stayed in one house, isolated for a long period of time, just to get over the symptoms. When the registrar of the wedding said, "In sickness and in health," What she meant was that in March, my job would be to not kill my husband.
I mean,
It's always,
I
always
mean,
a good piece of advice.
you know that that's constantly your job as well, though, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you just try not to. But so what next? Have you got any have you got anything? Anything?
Yeah, I've got a very, very full diary. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, I've got a radio interview, and then 3 weeks after that, I've got a walk booked in
Wow, someone's earning, huh?
Yeah, someone's earning.
Feel free to chip in with questions, everybody. Yeah, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm just being nudged. So feel free to ask us any questions you want. That's tip top. Got some down there.
Who are we talking to? Is there anyone out there?
There's people out there, yes, in the live comments. They're coming in. So yeah, and feel free to donate if you like to. That would be lovely. So when's your next quiz? When's your next quiz that you're going to do? Are you doing one yourself, or are you taking part in one?
7:22, 9 p.m. I'm taking part in a quiz with Matt Gibson. In fact, the greatest quiz who's ever lived. That's the other thing about quizzing, is that when you're a chaser, you forget sometimes that you are a celebrity in the quiz world, because so many of the quizzes that already know you treat you exactly the same. You forget that the quizzes that never met you before, to them, you're kind of like a celebrity. So it's nice to turn up into these quiz rooms and add a bit of glamour to a Zoom. Hello, my name's Paul Sinha. You may know me as the Cinnamon from the enduringly popular ITV quiz show The Chase.
You may know me as Mr. Darcy.
I'm the current UK quiz champion, September 2019. That's why I introduce myself.
So what's it like when you do? Do people take better pleasure in if they beat you in a quiz?
Of course.
Of course. And
I don't mind, because that's one of the reasons I got into quiz. It's because I want to do better than the ones I saw on telly. Of course, people get very competitive and want to beat you, and I don't mind that. I'm there to be shot at. Yeah. It's absolutely fine. This time I realised it, and it was quite a weird thing to realise that I'd made somebody's day because they'd beaten me at a quiz.
Oh, that's quite cute in a way, isn't it? That you can make people's day by just being there and by being shit at what you do.
Yeah.
Well, if you do what you do, they can go. If you shit at what you do, they can go, oh, I've beaten them. But even if you beat them, they go, well, of course he's beaten us. It's that bloke off the telly what does questions.
Yeah. So the whole thing of you made someone's day just by being there and being shit at what you do is going back to Leeds' late show at Jongleurs.
That certainly made my night.
Zoe Wardell.
She's not your life.
Zoe Wardell, what would be your mastermind specialist subject? I don't really have a specialist subject because it feels like you're sitting for an exam again. But if you had to ask me what I'm most likely to be able to answer questions on now, it would probably be British athletics.
British athletics?
That's 1980 onwards.
Really? Because I know you're a massive sports fan. I understand you like Everton, and I understand you're a big football fan, and your Olympics. I remember, like, do you take time off when the Olympics is on from touring and stuff?
I did in 2016. I wasn't planning to in 2020, and I mean, we've all taken such a financial blow. But the idea of being interested in anything other than making money when the lockdown finally sorts itself out just sounds a little bit weird. So I feel like that love affair with the Olympics, I feel that I'm done with that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things where a disease changes your perspective on things. And in this case, two diseases change your perspective on things. Parkinson's and this global pandemic means I've just got to look out for myself and enjoy the things that I enjoy doing and live my life not through the achievements of other people, but through my own achievements. So the idea that I could sit for 2.5 weeks in front of my telly cheering on my heroes, I don't think that's going to happen again.
No.
I think I've got to dedicate the rest of my life to myself.
Yeah, that's the perfect person dedicated to. There was one, just before I answer this one, what's it like working with Anne Hegarty?
It's lovely. You know, she's lovely. I don't really know what to say other than she's genuinely lovely. She is, as people know, on the autistic spectrum, and I think that she's on the chase. She's the person that she's too shy to be in real life, and I think it's really really nice. Everyone goes, are you like what you are in real life? And it's like, well, I am sort of, but Anne isn't. Mark, sort of. Sean's one of the most cheerful men I've ever met in my life. Charisma lights up a room, but he's paid to be miserable. So we are sort of pantomime characters. But yeah, I really like Anne. And then there was another question there, which was, do they put questions in on purpose to make Bradley lose it? The answer is yes, 100%. The clue is that Fanny Schmeller isn't even a very famous skier. There's no reason for Fanny Schmeller to be on that question in the chase, other than her name was going to make Bradley corpse it.
But
the reality is that was 2011.
Really?
9 years ago. And the reality is that Bradley doesn't corpse it anymore because it's not a surprise. Something has got to be a surprise to make you corpse.
Yeah.
If there suddenly appeared a question on the chase that goes, cocky titwank is the Latin name for which...
You definitely laugh at cocky titwank.
It's the Latin name for which lizard? Bradley... Oh, it's the cocky titwank question. He wouldn't corpse it anymore. The genuine corpsing is from the unexpected.
Yeah.
And so the corpsing takes place when people say something funny or say something accidentally funny. There was one where Bradley was meant, in the final chase, was meant to say a biting midge is what sort of creature, and said a biting minge in the middle of the of the thing, and that sort of thing is just going to make you corpse because it's unexpected. But if someone just puts up a question like that,
yeah,
I think we save those questions now for celebrity chase.
Yeah.
Because in celebrity chase we have a real audience, and so the laughter of the audience becomes infectious.
Do you not have a?
No, it's the same 100 people from the Flintstones.
Oh, right. The
Yeah.
I like the Addams Family's my favorite because it's not even a laugh anymore. It's that faded the sound. It's just like. But yeah, the outtake. So it's the outtakes. That is genuinely one of my favorite clips of Bradley trying to hold it. I love people corpsing. I think it's hilarious. But my personal favorite quiz one is "It's not yourself." It's the catchphrase where he looks like he's wanking off to a snake.
It's incredible, isn't
it? Honestly, every time I say that, I nearly lose a kidney laughing. It is so funny. Just when he's tipping his cap like that. Oh, I can't recommend enough.
It's funny for you, poor Mr. Chips. He's suffered a lot in those years.
Oh, that's a good one. Who is the cleverest celebrity you've had on Celebrity Chase?
That was a good question. If I had to, Steve Pemberton from League of Gentlemen, Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen, the Ben Miller of Armstrong and Miller, Sean Williamson, Barry from EastEnders, Paul Ross, Jonathan Ross's brother, Esther Ranson. I'd say those were the cleverest ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Who was the least? Who was the biggest?
I don't really know. Bill Oddie was the one that annoyed me the most.
Bill Oddie? What a weird sentence. Bill Oddie was the one that annoyed me.
I walked out to take the seat, and Bill Oddie's first line was, "Are you the guy from Goodness Gracious Me?"
Brilliant.
Right, we've got to redo that all again.
Oh, God.
I realise now what I should have said was, "Are you the guy from Monty Python?" Too late. It's too late for that one.
Lightning wit strikes again, eh, Paul?
The great improviser, they call me.
Oh, that was good fun. So, what's your plans when this is all done and dusted? First thing you're going to do?
don't know. Probably go up to Liverpool and get drunk on a binge drinking tour in pubs in Liverpool. It's my favourite place to go out drinking, and that's probably one of the first things I'm going to do.
Well, I'll join you.
There's so many things I miss, and one of them is just sitting in a pub getting absolutely shit faced with strangers.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yeah, come do it.
Me and you have done it before in Leeds after that gig.
Oh God, I was so drunk. So drunk. Oh, I remember that night because the last I was with was so drunk. So drunk.
I really missed that.
That was great fun, wasn't it? That was after the Stand Up for Cancer gig, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
What a lovely gig that I did. That was one of my last gigs before shutdown as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Varieties now. And it was I think Hal Cruttenden closed. It was lovely, but yeah, I miss going out drinking as well. Like
we all take a shower together after a show.
Yes. Do the Chasers shower together after the show? Well,
I'm trying to think if it's ever happened.
I love the fact that there's an opportunity. There was that one time at quiz camp.
No, we tend to shower before we get to the show and then shower at the hotel after the show. Call us old-fashioned, but it's just never happened. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mark Labette is a big one for the communal shower because he's got a rugby background. He's always trying to cajole us into joining some sort of communal bath. Well, I know, Mark, there's no room. There's just no room.
Prudes.
Absolute prudes, yeah. And of course, no, I'm going to stop there. I was about to say something that would get me into a lot of trouble, and I managed to.
I'm hanging. Who's the other lady on it?
Well, there's Anne Hegarty and me and Sean and Mark, and then there's Jenny Ryan from Bolton.
Oh, I like her. She's nice. She's a very attractive lady. I like her. Oh, she's a good one. So you don't shout. There you go, Dougie. I mean, whatever you like to think about. Can you imagine back in the day, Magnus Magnusson having a go with all the other contestants? Mastermind. He probably had a sit-down shower and all. So you never know. So, well, Paul, that's our time. It's been an absolute joy. I hope you enjoyed spending an hour with us because I haven't seen you for.
I'll do it next week if you want.
Yeah, well, we'll sort something else out. We'll definitely do it again. And thank you for everyone for. I keep saying tuning in. Like on the internet. Trying to you don't tune in, you just switch it on. But thank you very much for joining.
I remembered Jenny Ryan, Sean Wallace, 2004, before they knew they were going to be chasers. One shower, one communal shower.
There you go. Oh, just before. There you go. Well, we're off for a Sinha sesh and a communal shower. So thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you very shortly.
Take care, mate.
To talk to, as per usual, ladies and gentlemen, that's Paul Sinha. Thank you very much, and thank you for all your questions. Really do appreciate it. We're going to do another one next week. If you've got any suggestions about who you might like us to talk to, do let us know. Also, you can still donate if you want to donate, but please do. If you don't want to donate, what's the matter with you? What's your problem? Nah, no pressure. But you've been an absolute delight, as per usual. Thank you very much for joining in, and I'll see you again soon. I've been Matthew Reid. Good night.